What up to my peoples, and welcome to Retro Crunch. Today we are going to talk about the live in front of a studio audience All in the Family and the Jeffersons that just came on. It was a show that basically retold two episodes that happened in 1973 and 1975. And this retelling, from my opinion, it turned out to be really, really good. I didn't know what to expect of it. From the news that I had first heard about it, whenever I had first heard about it from ABC, I was thinking it was going to bomb. I thought it was going to be horrible. I was not going to be impressed. I basically had already counted it off from then and there. I liked the idea of the actors that were going to be in it, but I just did not think they were going to be able to pull it off. But we're going to actually talk about that right now. Woody and Marissa singing "Those Were the Days" right at the beginning of this episode was really great.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played.
Songs that made the hit parade.
Guys like us, we had it made.
Those were the days. And you knew who you were then.
Girls were girls and men were men.
Mister, we could use a man like Corbin over again.
Didn't need no welfare state.
Everybody pulled his weight.
G.R.O. LaSalle and great. Those were the days.
To start off this live performance, I wasn't real sure what episodes they were going to use because they were keeping it a pretty good secret. But it turned out that they started off with All in the Family Season 4, Episode 6, called Henry's Farewell, from October 20th, 1973. And I think that they knocked it out of the park. Woody Harrelson starting off as being cast as Archie. I thought he did pretty good. I think he started out strong, got a little weak, and then finished off pretty strong. There was a couple areas where his accent kind of came in and out, and I just thought that he kind of got a little lackadaisical on the acting part at certain times. But there were certain parts of it where I thought he was stellar. And overall, I think he did a pretty decent performance. He didn't call it in or anything. I did sort of think that he was a little bit too skinny for the role. I think they could have beat him up or put him in like a fat suit or something like that, just to kind of beef him up a little bit more like Carol was back in the original All in the Family show. But Marissa Tomei as Jean Stapleton, I think that she hit it out of the park. She played Edith like really, really well. I like the inflections, the way that she used the same mannerism, and her voice was spot on. She did a really, really good job. I enjoyed her performance thoroughly.
Well, don't that figure? Trust that guy to put the kibosh on a party after promising to have one over there. Wouldn't catch me doing that in a million years.
Oh, Archie, I'm so glad to hear you say that, because I told Louise she could have the party over here.
You told... Stop eating that. Stop eating that. You told her that? Well, get on the blower there and untell her.
And then the guy who played Mike, I thought he did fine, but I wasn't actually really very impressed with him. I think he did well enough. Honestly, I couldn't get over the fact that he looked like Donnie Wahlberg from New Kids on the Block. Every time I saw him, I kept singing Hangin' Tough in my mind for some reason. And then the one character from the first part that was really out of place for me was Ellie Kemper in her Gloria Stivic impression. I thought it was just a little bit too mechanical, and there just wasn't much feeling in it. Plus, with her hair, come on, Gloria is supposed to be a blonde. The first part of this show had pretty much all of the main characters from All in the Family in it, and they also segued in the Jeffersons into that, so we got to see Archie and George Jefferson interact a little bit in that, so that was kind of cool to get to see as well. When I saw George Jefferson come into the door, I just about lost it. I thought that was the funniest thing. Now, he did have a little bit of a flub. There was this part where he was interacting with his brother Henry, and he basically messed up his lines, but he basically recovered really well. He had the audience laughing.
Bunker! I'm gonna say what I gotta say to my brother, and I'm gonna get out.
I'll gladly hold the door for you.
Henry, ever since I was a little boy, I would always beg my mother for a little brother. But you know we was broke, so all is live. Everyone sitting at home just think their TV just messed up. All we could afford was you.
He's cute.
I thought that was really good that he was able to recover from that. Thinking on the fact that this is in front of a studio audience, it's live on television, and this is a one take. So they had to get it right in this one take. Yeah, they got to practice the lines, but doing it in front of all these people, I can totally understand why anybody might be a little bit nervous doing this. Between Marissa Tomei and Wanda Sikes, though, oh man, both of their performances were just awesome. I loved watching both of them on screen. Well, really on stage, but they both did really well. They even put up with some of the antics and the things that were going on screen that weren't exactly in tie with the way that it was supposed to go, but they recovered well, just like Jamie Foxx did. But I thought that overall, I thought that they did probably, or had probably the best performance of the night. And then in the second part of this live show, they actually segued over to the Jeffersons' home. It was actually the pilot episode for the Jeffersons. So if you were to go back and watch the pilot episode of the Jeffersons and compare it to this one, I thought it was pretty spot on. They did a good job. Also, I thought this was a great episode for them to pick to start it off with because it introduced most of the characters that are in the old series. Getting to see Kerry Washington and Will Ferrell play Helen and Tom as one of America's TV's first mixed race couples, I thought that was really great. And that was one of my favorite parts of the second act of the Jeffersons. The way those two interacted on stage, I thought they did very well together. They had really great chemistry. And I honestly felt like I was thrown back into watching the original Jeffersons show when they were on stage. One of the biggest surprises, I thought it was one of the biggest surprises, was when Marla Gibbs came out as the maid Florence on the show.
Miss Jefferson?
She was amazing back then. I thought she was amazing in her reenactment this time. It was really cool. I was really surprised because they had originally cast someone else to play the role, and I think that ABC was kind of trying to keep that under wraps, so they kept it a pretty good secret because I had no idea, and I'm sure the audience didn't either. It was pretty cool to see. And with there being so many episodes to pick from for both All in the Family and the Jeffersons, I think they did a really good job on the ones that they picked. We got to see most of the cast being portrayed, and the story that they told was just as relevant today as it was back in the 1970s. And you thought you might have snuck it by me, ABC, with that Nixon reference at the beginning as being the king. I can think of somebody that might be relevant to today, but I saw what you were trying to do there. You sly. Now, this would not be All in the Family or the Jeffersons if we didn't have a couple racy scenes that, led into the racism that was being talked about. Like with Henry and Archie that were trading punches about blacks and whites. And then George Jefferson calling Archie a honky right at the end of the first part.
I believe it was all right. Well, I thought it was incredible. I just hate that I had to say it here in this honky house.
I guess we are just a little bit stuck in the 70s still, aren't we? And then near the end of the skit, they used honky and the N-word again.
George, why do we have to fight so much? I mean, if we have a problem, why can't we just talk it through? Like Tom and Helen. They don't fight.
They don't fight because they scared to fight.
What is that supposed to mean?
You know damn well what it means. You know if you two got into it with each other, within 5 minutes, he'd be calling you
Don't say it!
Now, you listen to me. We've had a lot of fights, and that's never happened.
And you can't say it ain't ever crossed your mind.
No more than it's ever crossed my mind to say the word honky to Tom.
Ha! You just said it.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
That's the best idea I've heard all day.
But I thought that probably the most poignant and the deepest part of this whole show was pretty much right near the end of the show when Helen and Tom were getting ready to get in the elevator.
Oh, Tom, I'm worried.
About what?
Well, just now in there, why did that word honky ever cross my mind?
Why shouldn't it? Don't you think crazy words like that cross my mind too?
Yeah, but even in our worst fights, you never called me
It hasn't crossed my mind.
Tom.
Helen, do you remember how you used to tell me about those terrible fights you had with your sister?
Yeah, we could have filled Madison Square Garden.
Yes. Did you have crazy thoughts back then?
Yeah, sure. I can even remember wishing her dead. Can you imagine that? And I really loved her. Oh, I felt so guilty.
You see, honey, we can't keep crazy thoughts from popping into our head. Nobody can. What matters is not what passes across our minds, but how we live our lives together. And baby, we've been doing that pretty good.
Damn good.
I thought that was a very powerful and very important moment of the show. So let's talk a little bit about the aesthetic of the show. The clothes. I thought that the clothes that they wore in this show were really good. They were definitely representative of the 70s. I thought that the clothes for the 1973 episode were pretty much spot on. They did a really good job. The one nitpicky thing that I did find was I didn't think that what they wore in this version was the exact same thing as what they wore in the last version. Gloria not having the same hair, Archie not being as big. There was things like that that disappointed me a little bit, but overall I thought the aesthetic was pretty good for that. Now the Jeffersons, I thought they did a lot better job. I thought that the one from now compared to the one from 1975, I believe it was, I think they did a lot better with having the same type of clothes or wearing pretty much the same things. But overall, I think both of them did a pretty good job with the clothes that they wore. I did think they did an amazing job on both the stages. When they did the All in the Family stage, that one was really great. The one for the Jeffersons, I thought that one was equally great. Except what I liked about the Jeffersons one was whenever Jennifer Hudson, she came out and she sang, they actually kind of moved through the different parts of the set. I thought that was really cool because we actually got to see all the different parts a little bit better than we got to see in All in the Family. So kudos to them guys at ABC for putting together two really, really good sets for the time. They did a good job. In all, I was very impressed with both of the shows. I thought all of the acting did pretty well. Some of them did a lot better than the others. But overall, I think that they did a pretty good job. This was an awesome tribute to both All in the Family and the Jeffersons. So much kudos to ABC because I really did think that this thing was going to fail. I was not very happy with the fact that they were doing it in the first place. But after seeing it, I am really looking forward to them doing more shows in the future. So if we get to see more live shows like this, I will be very happy to see it. So now I want to ask you guys, what did y'all think about this? Were you happy with it? Did you think it was a little bit too racy? I mean, they basically used the original script, so there's not much you can say about that. But did you enjoy the episodes that they used for these two different shows and how they mixed them together? Are you happy with the actors and actresses and how well they played in the show? Do you think they did a good job? What about the set and the way that they were dressed? Were you guys happy with that? Overall, I was pretty happy with it, but I would love to hear what y'all's comments are in the comment section down below, so let me know. I really hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you'd like to see more reviews like this in the future, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, be sure to check out our next video that is right over there. I will catch you guys on the flip side, and remember, if it ain't retro, it ain't worth watching.